Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to today's Pick a Card reading. We are looking at what the person on your mind would say to you if you could have a heart-to-heart conversation with them. And we have 3 piles to choose from, 1, 2, and 3. There will also be an extended where we will look at their next move towards you. I forgot for a second. I literally just filmed the extended for the 3rd pile. But yeah, we'll be looking at their next move towards you, and we will also get tons of channeled messages from them, tons of channeled messages from your higher self, and advice to finish off too. This candle just went out right as I stopped filming, so great timing. I did film everything already, as you may have noticed from how many times I mentioned it, but I won't spoil it for you, so I will leave you to focus on which card calls to you the most, and I will see you soon. Hello, my beautiful pile ones, and welcome to your reading on what the person on your mind would say to you if you could have a heart-to-heart conversation with them. One thing I want to say is, right as I was shuffling for your pile, there was a plane passing by, and that gave me the sense that for some of you, you and this person may not be physically next to each other very often. So you could be in a long distance relationship, or you could be in some kind of separation, or just very busy maybe, so you don't see each other very often. But there is a sense that there isn't a whole lot of being next to each other and being in each other's presence physically. And I also felt this because of the card you got, which I will show you now. So we have number 30, Smother. And this came out in reverse, but I don't like looking at cards in reverse, so we're keeping it upright. But this person, I first want to talk about the kind of connection you may have with this person, so you can see if this seems like your story. This is someone who feels very connected to you, and it feels very mutual as well. It feels like you're quite wrapped up in each other's energy, even if there isn't a whole lot of opportunity for physically connecting or physically being next to each other. If this is a separation, this is someone who still feels very connected to you. If this is just a long distance relationship, this is someone who is very much longing for you and wishes you weren't at a long distance. But essentially, the kind of common message for both situations is that this person feels that they have grown an incredible amount through this connection, and that they still are growing a lot. But this also feels like a very triggering process, so it may feel a bit suffocating at times. It may feel overwhelming. It may feel like there is and has been too much going on. It feels like this connection runs a lot deeper than the typical connections this person may have, and maybe the same goes for you. But there is a sense of fear, but also conquering that fear. So this could be someone who has fears around intimacy, someone who may have fears around commitment, someone who has fears around shaking up the ground that they are on right now, the foundations that they have built so far. It feels a bit like this situation is very much controlled by what is seemingly external circumstances. But I think internally as well, this is someone who thinks a lot, overthinks a lot, and potentially spirals around this connection as well. I have to say, these this pattern here, these shapes, they are making me think of the plumb bob from The Sims. So this makes me feel like this person almost feels controlled by this situation, not in the sense of like you smothering them literally, I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's that you are overbearing or that you are asking this person for too much or pushing them too hard, anything along those lines, but it feels way more energetic, that they feel quite drawn to you and the situation, and they feel very controlled by that because they don't have a choice when it comes to how they feel about this situation. And normally, maybe this is someone who can compartmentalize their feelings, someone who can put them away for a while. But in this situation, they can't. So I think there is this overflow of emotions, including fear and anxiety. It's possible that they have brought a lot of past trauma into this experience because I think they haven't really had an opportunity to explore their past trauma or to heal from it or to even become aware of it. You could be very knowledgeable when it comes to psychology. You don't have to be. You could also just like, I don't know, but it feels like somehow you've managed to point some things out to this person about their behavior, even if it wasn't like a confrontation, even if it was them just realizing that they have some patterns that are not helping them when it comes to intimate relationships. They may have noticed this by interacting with you or by recognizing that there are certain barriers to how they interact with you. They feel intoxicated by this situation, and I think that is an entirely new feeling for them. I don't think this is someone who tends to fall very hard. I don't think this is someone who tends to explore their own psyche as well as their partners, like on a deep level. I think this is a new concept for them. And with inexperience in that aspect comes fear and anxiety and self-doubt. It's like this very practical person, this very grounded person is awakening spiritually, is becoming more aware of energies and energetic exchange, and they're becoming more in tune with their feelings. For some of you, this could be someone you've been, like you've never really had an opportunity to ground this connection with. Maybe because of distance, maybe because of other obstacles in the way. And one thing that is coming through, and I think we should get into the tarot now, but because we're getting into the heart-to-heart territory, but I feel like this person really wants to make this connection work. However, they feel very imprisoned by their own mind, their own fears, the obstacles that they have in their mind, the obstacles that they perceive, as well as potentially physical obstacles that remain between the two of you. So it's not that they don't want it, it feels more like they are unable to get closer to you and to this connection and to pursue this connection more. And I think there are parts of this conversation, this connection, that they don't really understand. Because I think they've never had to think in these terms, if that makes sense. like they've never had to get on such a deep level with anyone else and with themselves. So it feels like a whole new territory. And that can be scary at times. But now we will get into the tarot to see what they would say to you if you could have a heart-to-heart. I'm not going to do the whole kind of pretending I'm them thing. That just feels a bit awkward to me, so I will continue speaking as is. There will also be an extended for this reading, but I will talk about that later. What would this person say to pile one if they could say anything they wanted? Oh, we have the Three of Swords in reverse. This experience has been difficult, but also it's extremely healing for them to think about this connection, to think about the time you spent together. Doesn't have to be physically together. If you haven't had a lot of that, it could also just be conversations that you've had. But there is a big emphasis on how they feel. Like they have not felt this deeply. And they don't tend to feel this deeply in situations. And I'm really drawn to how these two figures are like basically in the same place, but they can't see each other. There could be a lot of mirroring between the two of you, or past experiences that you have had that you have connected about. You've given this person a whole new perspective on their own behavior, their own habits, and where they're kind of keeping themselves stuck. Yet it still feels like it's an ongoing process to stop being tangled up in all of these thoughts or behaviors or situations that they are tangled up in. If they could be very honest with you, they would tell you that they would want to reconcile this connection, or that they would want to be closer to you physically. This also feels a bit like being on like different ends of the world. It doesn't have to be so far away, the distance, but there is this feeling, very strong feeling of not being able to get to you. It could also be in an emotional sense. They may feel like it's hard to express themselves the way that they want to. But regardless, there is a very strong desire to heal with you and to connect with you and to be united with you. We have the Seven of Wands in reverse. For some reason, in my mind's eye, I'm seeing pile 3. I don't know if maybe there are messages in both piles for some of you. I haven't filmed pile 3, so I can't really comment on why that might be, but if you felt drawn to both, maybe it is confirmation for some of you. We have the Nine of Wands. We have the Moon in reverse. Cancer energy could be significant, or Cancer season. We have the Ten of Swords. I'm also going to take this. I don't do that very often, but we have the Empress in reverse. Taurus or Libra energies could also be significant, or Taurus or Libra season. You have definitely taught this person a lot, but they recognize that they haven't done right by you. And there is an incoming apology, or like a desire to apologize to you for what they may have put you through. I'm hearing indecisiveness. For some of you, they could have like kept you hanging, or they may feel that they really weren't able to give you the kind of energy that you deserve, that they weren't able to be there for you when you wanted them to. They feel that they have messed up in some sense. It almost feels like there was an opportunity to connect with you, and you may have seen this opportunity. You may have been more ready to take a risk. You may have been more ready to make this happen, but they may have come up with excuses, or they may have said they're not ready. They may have said they need to be somewhere else. And there is this sense of grief and a lot of overthinking as well around the choices that they made in the past that possibly drove the two of you apart. We have the Four of Pentacles. They would tell you that this connection opened up many doors for them. And I'm not sure what exactly that means, but there is a sense that you have shown them a whole new world, or this connection was kind of the trigger to this person getting to know themselves better, and their life changing in different areas as well as a result of their inner perceptions about themselves changing. So this is quite big. They would tell you that you have had an incredibly big impact on them that you may not even take credit for, because maybe they didn't tell you. Maybe you would think it's completely unrelated, but it feels like you've had a very long-lasting effect on this person and how they approach new situations and new opportunities as well. They feel that they have been selfish. They feel that they tried to rationalize their behavior or rationalize this situation and kind of be practical about it, but it also feels like it didn't feel right. Like they were telling themselves that they were doing the right thing, but on some level they knew that it would hurt. On some level they knew that it wasn't the best option. I don't know what happened here, but it feels like this person is very conflicted and very like broken up about some kind of decision that they made within this connection, or maybe a decision they made to walk away from this connection, or to not close the distance between the two of you. Because it feels like whatever choice they made was essentially fueled by fear and not by whatever other circumstance they may have brought up. It feels like any external obstacle was kind of more of a surface level story that they were telling themselves. and that they were trying to believe. But I think this connection, as healing as it has also been incredibly triggering for this person. We have the Magician. I heard I was too scared to try to make it work. Virgo or Gemini energies could be significant, or Virgo or Gemini season. They would tell you that they think about this connection very often. And that they think about you very often. And it's quite overwhelming for them. We have the Four of Swords. They have dreams about this connection for some of you. Or maybe more nightmares, or there seems to be some kind of negative feeling associated with it. So it's possible that for some of you, this person may have dreams or daydreams about what could have been, or how good you were to them, or what you were offering to them, and they turned their back on it. And then when they wake up, or when they come out of that daydream, there is this feeling of disappointment, this thinking about what if, thinking about what could have happened and what you could have done together. And we have the Star in reverse. As much as they want reconciliation or some kind of union or reunion, there is also this energy of them not knowing. There is still indecisiveness. There is an inability to figure out how to act, how to approach this situation, whether they should approach this situation. It feels a lot like this person could be going in circles, and they would tell you that they regret how things happened, but that they also understand that that's not enough for you to forgive them. And you may have already forgiven them, or there may be no hard feelings on your end towards this person, but I don't think they know that. So maybe it wasn't communicated to them. Maybe you never had a chance to have a conversation about this after all was said and done. It feels quite unfinished in certain ways. It feels a bit like there has just been a loss of hope on their end, that there's been not a lot of communication, or just very ineffective communication. Like what you really needed to talk about has not been talked about. So I feel like this is one pile where a heart-to-heart conversation has not really happened for most of you. Like there has never been an opportunity to do it. I cut the deck and we have the Ten of Cups. This person would tell you that being around you makes them, or made them, incredibly happy. It made them feel very connected. It made them feel very fulfilled. It made them feel light. But then they started seeing their wounds more clearly because they were always in the light. So what was in the shadows before was highlighted to them. And that can be very difficult to deal with. Just in the same way that when you are in a dark room and then someone turns on the lights, your eyes feel a bit funky. It's difficult to see. It's difficult to look at things. It takes a bit to adjust. And I think this person was just very afraid of that adjustment period. And it feels like they have this sense of guilt for not being brave enough to face you or face this connection the way that they would have wanted to. I don't think this person expects forgiveness. I don't think they have that expectation, but I think they have a desire to know that you don't have such negative feelings towards them. I think they can be very harsh on their own self. They can be very critical, and they are afraid that you would judge them in the same way that they judge themselves. For some of you, this could be a mirrored energy within this connection as well. It feels like essentially neither party has very negative feelings towards the other, but both parties may get very caught up in their own thoughts and overthinking tendencies and write stories that are not a reflection of what is actually going on. Aquarius energy could also be significant, by the way, as we have the star. Is there anything else that we are missing? Otherwise, we will move on to some oracle cards. What would this person say to pile one? I'm hearing I messed up. And we have the 10 of Wands. It came out upright, but it just flipped as it was going down. I think this person is still working on themselves, and they would tell you that you have given them the motivation to do the work. But that, of course, doesn't mean that they were instantly unafraid, they were instantly healed. It still takes work, it still takes time to work through any perspectives, habits, behaviors that they may have that are not helpful to them. Not just in terms of intimate connections, but I think overall you have had a very healing impact on this person. We have the 3 of Wands right after the 7 of Pentacles here. They have been hard at work, but there is also this energy of them being very hard on their own self. So it almost feels like however much work they do, it's not enough. They don't feel like it's enough. They don't feel like it's enough change, it's enough growth. I think this person isn't giving themselves enough credit for all the work that they have been doing. They could potentially be going through a rough patch specifically right now as well, because this does feel like a lot of overthinking. So something could have triggered a lot of repetitive thoughts about this situation. For some of you, they could have seen something about you on social media or heard something about you that made them think that you have changed your mind about them, or that like the situation has changed, the dynamic has changed. Bottom deck energy is a King of Cups. This is someone who feels very, very deeply for you, who really cares about you, but at the same time, they feel so distanced, so isolated from you. The King of Cups is often on an island, and it kind of feels like that. Maybe they're literally on an island. They don't have to be, but it's more so that they have all of these emotions that they're surrounded by, but they're just sitting in these emotions and they're not really able to do much. It feels a bit like they could build a boat, but they don't know how to. So they're just sitting there and they don't have the courage or the opportunity, or they tell themselves that they don't have the courage or the opportunity to build a boat, even though the ingredients are there with them. I think there is still intimidation in their energy. Like, There is this daydream of what could be, of an honest conversation, but they are afraid. It feels a bit like they can put themselves out there at this point in most areas of their life, except when it comes to intimacy. Like, they have healed a lot about their self-esteem, about their perception of their self, except for when it comes to diving in so deep in a connection. I also just saw 2929, and we had 30, number 30 on your first card. So someone could be turning 30 this year, or 29. I don't know. Just something I wanted to say, but that is another plane that is passing by. I don't know if you can hear it, but I do. We have union as I cut the deck, but let's see. What would this person say to pile one if they could say anything at all? Ooh. We have past, emotional baggage, forgive, move on. We have patience, divine timing, maturing, persistence. They would tell you that this connection is not over for them, however, that they would understand if it is over for you. And I think that is one big source of hesitation for this person. They're still healing. They're still trying to... I think there's a lot of inner child healing happening for this person, even though it may be a painful, difficult, and confusing process. I think they're doing really well. And if you feel like this is your energy or mirrors your energy in some sense, you should be proud of yourself. I feel like whoever's energy this is not giving themselves enough credit. I feel like they're very critical and harsh on their own self when there is no reason to be. They're only human. You're only human, and you are doing your best. We have innocence, unconditioned, trusting, vulnerable, pure. We have ego, humanness, conditioning, insecurity. I think it's all about where this person's at, and what they have gotten from this connection is a lot of undoing of patterns from their past, or at least becoming aware of these, which is the first step to undoing these patterns. But it's not something to be taken lightly. It's not something where you just become aware of a pattern you have and then you're like, okay, I'm done with it. There's a lot of work, a lot of energy, a lot of effort that goes into it. And sometimes you have to put yourself out there and experience connections and heal within connections as well. But it almost feels like this person is more of a solo healer, and they have not chosen to heal within this connection, or they have not felt like they could heal while being in a connection. I think this is not true, but also to each their own. But just to give like my take on this, I think it is very possible to heal within a connection. As long as you are aware of your patterns, aware of where you may need to break down some patterns, as long as you take accountability for your healing, I think it is very possible to heal within a connection as well. You don't have to be perfect, fully healed, perfectly have your shit together 100% of the time to be in a connection. That would just be ridiculous. So that's not it. But I cut the deck. I was just going to briefly talk about the extended and what we're looking at in that, because I don't remember if I talked about it. I just saw 33. But commitment, individuality, it feels like they are maybe you are more able to heal within connections and they are not, or vice versa. Or maybe both of you are moving from a place of feeling like you have to heal separately, follow your own path, and then come to a place of where you can do this in a commitment with someone else. We have purge and love sticking out, so I will quickly show those two. Cleanse, clear, release, and unconditional, universal unconditional love source. I do think you are very guided on this journey. I think they are too. However, they may not be very in tune with their intuition, so they may not see it this way. But I think both of you are trying your best with your current perceptions, your current feelings, your current opportunities. And if you would like to join me in the extended, I will now talk about that because I think this is all we have for the main reading. We will get some tons of channeled messages, not some. That makes it sound like it's like two. We'll get tons of channeled messages from this person. We will get tons of channeled messages from your higher self. We will look at their next move towards you, this person's next move towards you, and we will finish off with advice. And if you are meeting me there, see you in a bit. And if not, I am sending you tons of love. Take care and bye. Woo. Hello, my beautiful pile twos, and welcome to your reading. We are starting off with this card to look at what kind of connection this is, who this person is. If you feel the story matches yours, that's what we're checking basically. And then we will look at what this person would say to you if you could have a heart-to-heart conversation with them. We will also have an extended, which I will talk about later on. So let's get into this. We have number 41, no one is yours but you. This came out in reverse, which I thought was really interesting because let me get into this. Okay. So I think this is someone that you are already with or someone that you were with in some sense, and it was intense because it feels like there is a big backstory here or a deep story that is currently being written as we speak. This is someone that feels very connected to you on all levels, heart, mind, body. So I think there is a lot of physical attraction. I think there is a lot of mental chemistry. I think there is a very similar sense of humor or a very compatible sense of humor between the two of you. You may have met through friends as well, or just like by hanging out in similar circles, essentially. So you could have met through a mutual friend. Or they can be someone's cousin. I don't know why that's coming through, but they could be your friend's cousin or something along those lines. Anyway, that's not going to be for everyone, but this is someone who just wants to be near you, who is very much intoxicated by your energy, someone who feels so drawn to you, and someone that has gotten to experience a new level of depth with you. In some ways, this is similar to pile 1, but I feel like the context is entirely different. This feels like, for some of you, I don't want to influence your choice, but if you felt drawn to pile 1, it's possible. Pile 1 could be like a past energy, and this is like present or incoming energy. But regardless, this is someone who really, really admires you, someone who has a crush on you, even if they're also in love with you at the same time. This is someone who still feels excited. This is someone who, even if you're in a relationship with them, is always excited to spend time with you, is always excited to try new things with you, is someone who just wants to experience more of you. You are very much in this person's heart space. You are like, I heard they don't just have eyes, like, what's that saying? Someone who has eyes just for you. They don't just have 2 eyes for you, they have 3. That's what I heard. So they're very, very, very interested in you. So I would be very surprised if, like, this could be someone you're getting to know as well, but if that's the case, this would be a situation where you instantly felt a very strong pull towards each other, yet you have also given this connection time, because this person is on your team. And because this card was reversed, I still agree that no one is yours but you. I still agree with this message on its own, but this also gives me the sense that you are not alone and this person is also on your team. Regardless of any arguments, any disagreements that you may face, you may have faced in the past, any differences you may have when it comes to perspective, it really feels like this is a connection where you often have to find a middle ground. I don't think you're very similar to this person, even though you are very, very much connected, especially maybe when it comes to core values. Like maybe family is very important to you and it's very important to them as well. You may have had wildly different experiences when it comes to how you experienced family or how you were brought up in your childhood, or culture-wise, maybe you come from very different places, but it feels like at the core you are very much connected with this person. There is a lot of happiness that they feel around you. I heard touched by the sun. I think they feel a very strong sense of warmth when they're around you. It feels like it's bursting out of you, this sense of warmth, this sense of being at home, this sense of being with a companion. They have a lot of fun with you, but they can also get real with you. They can dive deep with you. This message does not have to apply to every single one of you, but if you have been physical with this person, I think they're pretty mind blown by that interaction. So there is definitely a lot of physical attraction, whether this has been experienced with them or not. You may have like petty arguments sometimes with this person, but they mean well and you mean well too, and they know you mean well. But sometimes it feels like maybe your ego and their ego may get in the way, but it also feels like that creates a lot of opportunity to break out of these unhelpful behaviors or break out of these patterns. I feel like this is a connection where you're getting a lot of opportunity to compromise, to learn to compromise, to learn to be a team together. Feels like you and me against the world, baby. That's what I'm hearing. I think this is someone who's a great conversationalist as well. Gemini placements are coming to mind. So that could be relevant, could be not. But this is someone who is very, very, I want to say very much in love with you, but I don't want to speak for anyone if this has not been talked about between the two of you. So take it as you will, take it as you wish, take it as it applies, but that is the gist of who this person is. So if this sounds like the situation that you are in or the person on your mind, let's get into the tarot and see what they would say to you if you could have a heart-to-heart conversation with them. I'm already seeing the Ace of Cups, which is always nice to see. And the Ace of Cups in this deck very much has Two of Cups energy, at least to me. What would this person say to... We have the Two of Swords in reverse. I heard you are stubborn. But it feels playful. Like, it doesn't... Maybe you've had a conversation about this, that both of you are stubborn or something along those lines. We have the Three of Swords, the King of Swords in reverse. I feel kind of like a more serious shift in the energy suddenly. It almost feels like this person maybe does not express themselves as well as they would want to, as well as they think they should, but at the same time there is this slight stubborn energy where they may not yet be able to admit to this, but there also feels like there is like this energy of improvements. Like, maybe this is something that you are both working on, or that they are working on, expressing themselves better and more in a more vulnerable way. I don't think they have maybe been with people or been in situations where this was required. Maybe they feel like they are not good with words. Like, it just sounds bad. They may have a way with words where I think they're a very good conversationalist. Like, they can be very fun and easy to talk to, but when it comes to their feelings, it almost feels like they have like 5 tons, so it comes off kind of strange at times. We have the Nine of Pentacles. This person would tell you that they feel inadequate when it comes to expressing themselves and their feelings, and they feel like they're not doing their actual feelings any justice. They feel bad if they have hurt you in any way with their words. They recognize that you may be more sensitive to the details of what they're saying, or like how exactly they word things. You may read between the lines more often than this person might, at least to their knowledge. Even if they also read between the lines, I don't think they're very aware of this habit that they may have. But they recognize that they could be more sensitive or more careful with their words, almost, I want to say. We have the Three of Cups. For some of you, you could be at a distance. It feels like something is preventing the two of you from celebrating something. So it almost feels like there is a distance or something getting in the way of you truly being united and enjoying this connection. We have the Two of Cups in reverse as well. This doesn't feel like it's feeling based. I'm not really getting breakup or separation energy, but some of you could be in that situation. But for most of you, this more so feels like some kind of frustrating obstacle between the two of you, such as long distance, or maybe one of you has like another commitment, maybe to kids. Kids are coming through strongest in terms of potential third-party energies. A third party does not always have to mean another relationship, so if that's not the case, please don't be alarmed. I don't want to trigger you, especially because If it was a third party, you would know, because this feels like it's very much out in the open, whatever this third energy is. It could be distance, it could be someone's work, it could be anything that is outside of the two of you, essentially. We have the Six of Wands. We have the Nine of Wands in reverse. We have the Dream Angel in reverse, which is the Star. They feel that they still have a lot to learn when it comes to being in a team, being in a partnership, but they're putting in a lot of effort to grow and to be up to their own standards when it comes to how they think a partner should be. And I do think this is someone who has very high standards for their own self, but I think they're very accepting of other people. And I don't think this is someone who judges other people, but they may, but not in a critical or harsh way. I think they are their own harshest critic. It feels like there is such we have the Eight of Cups, we have the Queen of Wands, the Six of Pentacles in reverse, Seven of Wands, Seven of Swords, Queen of Swords, Five of Swords. There could be certain arguments or some obstacle that you cannot seem to find a way around, and they would tell you that it's very, very frustrating to deal with whatever this obstacle is, but at the same time, they want both of you to be happy, and they want both of you to figure this out in a way where both of you are happy, where you can be free but still connected, where you can build something together and put in equal effort and work truly as a team. I want to get more. I feel like this person has a lot to say. We have, we have the Knight of Swords, which for me confirms that this person does have a lot to say. And I have never done this before, I think, but I'm actually going to do a double spread. We have the Emperor, Aries energy, could be significant, or Aries season, or Aquarius. I don't remember if I mentioned this anymore. We have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. They may have a bit of a temper for some of you, or either a temper or an avoidant habit. It feels like one or the other extreme. Like they may sometimes burst with emotion and say things in a moment of like just a lot of emotion. Or they may just be a bit avoidant when it comes to discussing certain things, but they would tell you that they are working on it and they are trying their best to be a match to your energy. I think they think very highly of you, and they would tell you that. I don't think that's a secret at all, that they think very highly of you, but at the same time, there is this feeling of being inadequate, which I think is something that they may not very openly share with you, potentially out of fear of not appearing very strong. I think in the past, this person has had to appear very strong. They may feel like there are certain expectations placed on them. They may place these expectations on their own self as well, that they should not be vulnerable, they should not be weak, they should be the protector, they should be the provider, something along these lines. Even if this is not like an expectation you've placed on them. We have Sophia, which is the strength card in this deck. So Leo energy could be significant. They feel so connected to you at the heart, but they're also so frustrated that they can't seem to express the strength of these emotions. They feel like they're not doing right by you in some sense. They feel like they're not able to give you enough. They feel like they don't have enough, they don't get enough time with you. For some of you, maybe this person is working a lot and they just don't have a lot of time to put into this connection, or they are always tired and exhausted and not their best self, something along these lines. We have the Nine of, I feel it, no, yeah. We're going to continue from this side, Nine of Swords. We have the Three of Wands. This is turning out to be a very interesting way to read because I'm seeing how the energies are evolving as well, and maybe where they're at right now and what they're trying to be. We have the Seven of Cups. We have the Queen of Swords. I think you are very, not very necessarily, but a lot more expressive with your feelings, a lot better at expressing your inner world. Maybe more introspective and accepting than this person when it comes to your own relationship with yourself, and they feel very inspired by that. They want to love themselves and they want to love you. We have the Five of Swords in reverse, but they're very frustrated by whatever obstacles are between the two of you. It feels like it goes back to that circle a little bit. So whatever your current situation is, I don't think this person feels entirely fulfilled in it. You could be going through a rough patch as well, potentially, maybe as a result of external circumstances. They daydream about a future where all the work that they're putting in now has paid off. Where you are just this like deeply connected couple that everyone else loves to be around as well, and you love to be around each other. It feels very wholesome in that aspect. We have the innocent. It feels very pure, but first it feels like they have to untangle themselves from whatever unhelpful thoughts, behaviors, habits, beliefs, situations that may be around you. We have Aries and Capricorn energy, Five of Pentacles in reverse, and the Hierophant. For some of you, there could be distance to like a gap to close between the two of you. This person is loyal to you. They are committed to you. But they also feel that maybe you are not seeing this openly, or maybe they are not able to express this themselves. They almost seem to get, I saw 22, 22, 2222. 2022 may be a significant year as well, which was last year at the time of me filming this. So maybe you met this person in 2022 or some kind of big breakthrough happened in your connection. But regardless of that, this person gets tongue-tied. Not necessarily in like a nervous or uncomfortable way. I think it's just not a skill that they have refined very much, expressing their true feelings in a way that's not very matter of fact. They feel like more of a practical talker, so they may not always be fully aware of how they may come across, but it feels like this like dreamy, ethereal, emotional fairy person and this grounded, foresty, strong, like earthy person coming together and balancing each other out. We also have the Seven of Swords. Yeah, a lot seems to still be unsaid, though I don't think it's something negative. It feels more that they're just having difficulty expressing themselves emotionally. We have Eight of Pentacles, Six of Swords, and the World in reverse. Yeah, definitely there is a distance or some kind of obstacle that they want to get rid of. They want to have a peaceful connection with you. We have the Six of Cups in reverse as, oh, okay. We have the Six of Cups in reverse as the bottom deck energy. This makes me think of two things. One, the past. And I think they feel very, very connected to you, like they've known you from a past life. Even if they don't really put it in those terms, I feel like they would be the kind of person to not put it in those terms necessarily. But I think there is also a bit of a dream or hope of like having family with you coming through too, with this like energy of providing, wanting to be a match to your energy, being surrounded by other people too. It feels like just combining your lives and walking your paths together and giving each other love and support as you go through whatever it is that you gotta go through. It's about truly being a team, I think, for this person. We have the Five of Wands. Yeah, the Devil. You may be having a lot of arguments, or you may have had a lot of arguments or one big conflict, one situation where you can't seem to see eye to eye. I think they want to rise above that. They want to make you feel secure in this connection as well. And they may feel that they have failed to do that in certain ways, or that they are having difficulty understanding your needs in certain ways. So I do think this is a situation where a heart-to-heart really is necessary and could be very, very helpful to the connection as well, because it's important to remember that you are on the same team and you are going after the same thing potentially, which is working together. But it almost feels like this energy of conflict, or them not being able to express themselves maybe, or not really being able to understand each other too well at this moment, may lead to this energy of working against each other. But it's very important to remember that you are on the same team. We have the Six of Cups upright now, and I dropped a card. Seven of Swords in reverse as the bottom deck energy. Open and honest conversations. This person wants to take responsibility for this connection. This is an energy of commitment, potentially marriage as well, or something along those lines, but it doesn't have to be what you want. You don't need to marry this person if that's not your thing. You don't need to be in a traditional relationship with this person if that's not your thing. But they do feel very, very connected to you, and they are loyal to you. And there could be some mirroring going on between the two of you as well, with this literal mirror here with the Six of Cups as well as the Seven of Cups energy, where, you know, two people Is there anything else that wants to come through? Otherwise, we will move on to the Oracle cards. We have the Four of Cups in reverse. The solution is simple and they know, but it feels a bit like maybe both of you are having difficulty seeing eye to eye. We have the Ace of Wands and the Ten of Cups sticking out from the middle of the deck, and the Hanged Man in reverse. You really need to have a heart-to-heart conversation, I think. This person feels so drawn to you. They feel so happy around you. They see so much potential within this connection. But they just seem to not know the best way to go about it, considering both of your perspectives, your desires, and your ways of communicating and going about, you know, the world. I think you're both healing. I think this connection is giving both of you a lot of opportunity to heal. But there may be ups and downs. That doesn't mean the love is lost. That doesn't mean things are broken or not working if you have disagreements. It just means you gotta work to see eye to eye, or to at least understand each other's perspective. Bottom deck energy, as I picked this deck up, and right behind it, passion and love, creative energy, enthusiasm, drive. Does this say, what does this say? Unconditional. I thought it said union. Anyway, we'll get to that if it comes out, but universal unconditional love source. This person does definitely have very strong feelings for you. I can tell you that. There is a very strong sense of wanting to be good enough for you, though. We have talents, on the right path. Masculine, direction, movement, protection, giving. I think they are on the right path to kind of breaking their own barriers, improving in areas they want to improve in. I think both of you are healing through this connection, even if it's directly visible to you or not. We have allow, flow, trust, surrender. They would tell you that they want you to trust them, that they're trying to show you that you can. Of course, in the end, the decision is up to you. But that seems to be what they're hinting at, that they may feel that you don't fully trust them, and maybe you have a good reason for it, but I also feel like this person is motivated to show you that you can trust them now. We have balance, harmony, equilibrium, equality. They want a mutual, balanced, reciprocated partnership. I think they have a lot of respect, a lot of admiration, and a lot of love for you. Manifestation, magic, believe, faith. You definitely make this person kind of believe in things or consider things that they didn't think about, maybe about their own existence, maybe about the universe. There's definitely that magical energy to you that they see. Cycle, repetition, patterns, phases. You could be going in circles about particular subjects that they want to get past, and they are working on themselves to equip themselves with the tools to work past whatever obstacles may be in front of you. We have self-worth, boundaries, pride, grace, and ego, humanness, conditioning, insecurity. I think they're definitely working on their self-worth as well, and you could be too. I think this is a connection where there is a lot of opportunity to practice self-love, self-care, where you have space to do this while loving each other as well. And bottom deck energy is union, which is what I thought was coming through before, but now is the time, it seems. We have unity, oneness, and merging. They essentially just want a harmonious togetherness with you. And I think they're excited for what's to come as well, even though the present moment may be a bit frustrating with any obstacles you may be facing, whether these are communication-based or physical obstacles or the third parties, whatever it may be. I think they're excited for a future with you, And they hope you are too. Sometimes you can be hard to read too, I think, even if you feel like you are very easy to read and very like good at expressing yourself. I have no doubt that you are, but I think at times, maybe because you come from such different places or backgrounds, it can be difficult to really understand each other. And we have commitment that flew out, dedication, loyalty, and devotion. And I think this is a good note to leave this main part of the reading on. In the extended, we will look at this person's next move towards, okay, I did not want a card, but this wanted to come out. We have choice, decision, options, possibilities, hesitation. So this person could be at a point of like making a big decision that relates to this connection, and I guess that is a cliffhanger for the extended, where we will look at their next move towards you. We will get tons of channeled messages from them, tons of channeled messages from your higher self, and we will finish off with some advice. If you are joining me in the extended, I will see you in a bit. If not, I am sending you tons of love. Take care and bye. Hello, my beautiful pile threes, and welcome to your reading. We're starting off with this card to look at the story of this connection so you can see if this matches where you're at and the situation that you're in, and you can figure out if this reading is for you or if there is potentially a message for you in one of the other piles, or maybe no message for you at all in these readings, which is also perfectly okay. So yeah, let's get into this. There will also be an extended, which I will talk about later on. We're starting off your reading with number 53, Make It Look Like the Night. The number 53 is immediately making me think of 52 weeks in a year. And that gives me the sense that this person might be someone who has made excuses for their behavior, or someone who wasn't showing up in the way that you expected them to or wanted them to. This could be someone who made promises that they did not end up keeping. This could be someone who kept things from you that are now out in the open. I don't think there are secrets in this situation anymore. At least I feel like you know what's going on. I get the sense that a lot has gone down in this situation and that you are not on the best of terms with this person. For most of you, I think this is going to be a separation. If not, this could be someone that you recently had a big conflict with and you're kind of working through those energies. But essentially, it almost feels like within this connection, everything may have seemed a bit darker than reality. Like, you could have gone into this situation with a lot of optimism, but then there's almost this fog around the energies. And it feels like you were very disappointed with how things played out or how things turned out to actually be. I don't think this is someone, I don't think you have dealt with or you are dealing with someone who is able to be very open, honest, and vulnerable. I don't think they're able to do this with their own self. And I don't think they were able to do this with you. Essentially, we're all human. We can all make mistakes. We can all mess up. But it comes down to how we take responsibility for it and how we try to make up for it or to improve or to grow in ways that are not, to grow out of patterns that are not helping us anymore. In terms of the awareness of their own patterns, I think it's a mixed bag. For some of you, this person will be very aware of what they're doing, but they will choose to stay in that comfort zone. For others of you, there will be a lack of awareness and going in circles a little bit in terms of their own behavior. And I think one way to go about this, one way to explain this, is that potentially there could be a lot of unhealed trauma that this person is carrying. This is not an excuse to their behavior. I am not excusing their behavior or any negative emotions that they may have put you through, but it may help to put things into a perspective of it wasn't you, it was them and whatever they were dealing with. Of course, it's not fair that you had to feel the things that you did. Of course, it's not fair. But it's also not because you're not good enough or anything along those lines that this person may have acted in the way that they did. Because I do feel like the energies here are quite heavy. And if this is not your pile and this doesn't sound like your situation, please click off. Do whatever else you want, but don't be here. I don't want to confuse you if this is not your situation. If you're having like anxiety, relationship anxiety, I feel called to say this is not your pile. Like if this person has not given you a solid reason to not trust them or to be cautious around them, if you do not have like solid evidence of something going on, this is not your pile. This is a situation where you know, like something has happened or some things have happened or they weren't honest or authentic about their intentions. A lot has gone down in this situation. I'm stressing this so that you can discern between what is your situation and what isn't. And I do feel like this situation has given you a lot of opportunity for growth, if this is your situation. And of course, it's unfortunate that it had to happen in a way where there were a lot of heavy emotions coming through, maybe some unexpected twists that were difficult to process or that still are difficult to process, but it's important to be patient and kind with yourself. I'm not going to tell you to be all zen and forgiving towards this person. That part is up to you. But you have to be, you should be, you could be gentle, kind, patient with yourself as you work through any triggering emotions, any frustrating thoughts that come up. I think you are growing immensely through this experience. And I think that's something to be proud of. I think you've had to be very strong emotionally and mentally, but also that this situation has given you a lot of opportunity to connect with yourself and to be your own best friend. And to really stand up for yourself and to express yourself and to connect your intuition deeply, to know that your intuition will guide you down the right path. Your intuition will tell you if something is wrong. I don't mean your anxiety or your fear-based thoughts. I mean your intuition. And the best way to differentiate between these two for me, even though it is not foolproof and sometimes I also doubt my intuition, especially when it comes to my own self, I experience that a whole lot more than when it comes to like other situations outside of me, because of course we are a lot more biased towards our own selves. But one way to differentiate between intuition and anxiety is that your intuition feels a bit more like a light tap, calm. It's not screaming at you to get your attention because it's just an inner knowing that is just there. There is no time limit to it. It's not scared of something. It just is. And anxiety, on the other hand, is usually kind of like alarms blaring. It's like, hello, pay attention to me. Something is wrong. Something's gonna happen. Oh no, they sound very different. And it takes practice, but it is entirely, not maybe entirely, maybe not 100%, but it's possible to be pretty accurate with discerning intuition and anxiety. And I think you have a very strong intuition. I think you have a very big heart and a very heart-based way of walking through life. But I think this situation has also taught you to be more discerning towards situations and has shown you, sadly, that not everyone has a heart like yours. And that is a hard pill to swallow. But it's also not your responsibility to make anyone else heal or make anyone else grow or to make anyone else want to heal or grow. But circling back to this person's energy, I do think they are going in circles a little bit and having difficulty accepting the aftermath of the situation, in the sense that they may have difficulty accepting that their role in how this situation played out. They are giving me, I'm getting a very avoidant energy from them, like they would prefer to hide and avoid confrontations because they don't want to tarnish their own perspective of their own self or see that your perspective of them has changed. I think they know that there is some truth to what you may have to say. I think they recognize that, and I think that is what they are afraid of facing. I think they have a lot of insecurities that they're afraid of being, that they're afraid will be discovered by other people. And I think they want to appear very strong because they actually don't feel very strong. So they're trying to compensate for that by appearing extra strong and extra stoic and extra angry for some of you. Like, this person could have had a bit of a temper or just a way of expressing any emotion as anger. They may feel ashamed, yet they express it as anger. They may feel upset, they may just express that as anger. And this is a pattern that can be broken, that can be recognized and worked on. But for most of you, there is this energy of this person currently not having gotten to know themselves very well and currently being more so in a place of hiding. However, that also doesn't mean that this energy will never change. It doesn't mean the situation will never change. I think everyone has a potential to grow, to learn, to heal, to evolve, but not everyone chooses to do so. And that's kind of the main point. But let's get into the tarot and look at what this person would say to you if you could have a heart-to-heart conversation with them, if there were no walls, no defenses, just heart-to-heart. What would this person say to pile 3? We have the Queen of Cups that turned sideways, which I will tend to in a second. We also have Temperance, Sagittarius energy or season could be significant. I'm also just now realizing how similar these cards are. We have the Lovers, Gemini energy could be significant. We have the Queen of Wands. They would tell you that they have felt very, very drawn to your energy, very drawn to your big heart, very drawn to how generous you have been with them. They would tell you that they felt very soothed and nurtured within your energy. And while they felt this very strong connection to you, it also feels like there are parts of themselves that they were not ready to release, that they were not ready to let go of, that got in the way of this connection. For some of you, this could have been a third-party situation as well. We have the King of Wands. We have the Knight of Cups. We have the Two of Pentacles. They would tell you that they tried to make good choices, even if it didn't really work out in that way. I think they do think very highly of you, but they can't really bring themselves to accept that. And I'm saying thinking highly of you in the sense of being intimidated by you in some sense. They may feel like you have some kind of power over them. Like you could change other people's perception of them. That's mainly the energy that I'm getting. Like they're afraid you would tell on them, and they don't want other people to feel differently about them too. While they recognize that you may feel differently about them at this point, it's like they would ask you to not tell anyone or tell on them. Which is quite interesting. We have the Three of Cups in reverse. So there could have been a third-party situation. They could have chosen to be in another connection. We have the Seven of Swords in reverse. And we have the Five of Swords. I think they would tell you that they don't see themselves being able to be on your level, which I don't think is true. We do have the King of Cups as the bottom deck energy. I don't think this is a true objective thought on their end or a true observation on their end. But right now, their perspective seems to be that they're not going to be a match to your energy. So they have chosen to focus their energy elsewhere right now. This could be another connection. This could be just themselves. This could be building a social circle. This could be any other area of their life. But I do think they are in a place where they are not putting a lot of energy into this situation right now, and they may have not made a lot of space to interact with this situation for the time being. Of course, energies are always changing, and this does not mean that this is the final picture for them. It doesn't mean that they would never grow or learn from their own behavior, or that they would never heal the trauma that they may be carrying. But it feels like for the time being, their focus is on somewhere else. I think they're trying to be confident, and they recognize that they have not been fully open, that they have not been able to be vulnerable or give you the energy that you may have expected from them, or the energy that they may have promised you. I think they do, to some extent, recognize that they do have patterns, behavioral patterns that show up in intimate relationships that hold them back, but in a way it also feels like they would tell you that that makes them feel safe, to be able to always keep a part of their own self to just them. But at the same time, I think they don't know themselves fully. I don't think they would necessarily talk about that, because I don't think they are fully aware of this. But I do think you have been someone that gave this person a lot of comfort, and I think they have felt very drawn to you and connected to you. And I just realized we have the Queen of Cups, King of Cups, Queen of Wands, King of Wands. This may be someone who tries to be who they think other people want them to be. I don't think they have a very solid sense of the self. I think that it's very fluid, even if it is built around certain beliefs that are very much set in stone, potentially self-limiting beliefs or limiting beliefs about other people. And how they show up in relationships. But other than that, it feels like this person is a bit of a shapeshifter. Like they appear like they want to appear as someone that you would like, for example, because they liked you, but they may have tried to become something that, or someone that you would like as well, but it's only a matter of time before the mask comes off, or before the real self starts popping up through the gaps. And it almost feels like they couldn't keep it up. And it's, again, not on you that this person may not have been able to be fully authentic within this connection. We have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, and we have the Ten of Wands. And we have the Ace of Swords. It's like they never had an opportunity, or an opportunity perceived by them, even if objectively there were opportunities, but it feels like they may feel that there haven't been any opportunities for them to be honest with themselves, or be honest with you, or to be themselves fearlessly. I think they're afraid of what they might see if they were to be like fully themselves. So there is like very strong running energy. We have the Ten of Pentacles, the World in reverse, and the Three of Pentacles. For some of you, you could be the one that got away. For this person, they may perceive you to be the one that got away. I want to clarify a bit more with these oracle cards. This is quite interesting also, because it feels like they would want to like compliment you and kind of speak very positively about you. And yet it feels like when they actually had the opportunity to do this, they didn't take it. But it also feels like this person still has a lot of difficulty being vulnerable and expressing how they truly feel and what they really need, and like kind of the depths of their emotions, because there isn't a whole lot of there isn't an energy of like having a very hard conversation, if that makes sense. It still feels a bit more avoidant. It still feels a bit more walking on eggshells almost, or not saying everything, but mainly focusing on compliments and positive things and not what went wrong in depth. And in the other piles, there was a bigger energy of kind of going in depth about what isn't or has not worked, or like what has caused frustrations, or, and it wasn't all bad either, of course, but to me this feels like kind of a reversed ratio of wanting to focus on the positives and kind of sweeping the negatives under the rug. And I don't mean to say that this person has like negative opinions about you that they are keeping to themselves, but I think it's more so about the situation that they would rather avoid the difficult parts and focus on the good instead. We have dreams, messages in dreams, visions. I do think they are haunted potentially by this situation. So if they haven't dealt with the aftermath, I feel like the lessons are almost chasing them, so that they notice these lessons, or like accept that they are there, accept that there is something that they need to take from this situation. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves in the same cycles again and again. We have balance, harmony, equilibrium, equality. I think they are trying to feel okay, but they seem to be under the impression that not dealing with their feelings is what's going to make them feel okay. But unprocessed emotions are they just end up being baggage that we carry unintentionally, but they attach themselves onto us. And they'll knock again and again until someone acknowledges that they're there. So I feel like this person is someone who tends to repress their feelings and not deal with them to the full extent of what they're actually feeling. We have feminine, creation, nurturing, receptivity. I think they did feel incredibly comfortable around you and very soothed. But it also feels like what they felt comfortable with was not like themselves, it's not like they felt accepted, because I don't think they accept themselves, so I don't think they're able to truly feel accepted externally either, because they will kind of just, well, I think it starts from within, essentially, is what I mean. But they may have gotten a lot of validation that you liked them. So they can't be bad, or they can't be... And I don't mean they are bad, by the way. I don't think it's that black or white ever. I think they are human, essentially. But yeah, I think they may be someone who seeks a lot of external validation to fill in the gaps they feel within. But that doesn't always work out, and it's not always very sustainable, especially if that source of validation is not around anymore. And that seems to be the case a little bit, that they feel a bit like in limbo with themselves. Present, mindfulness, silence, meditate, breathe, home, belonging, origin, comfort. Yeah, I think that's the feeling you gave them. We have communication, connect, reach out, speak, listen. There is a sense of like wanting you to be on okay terms, but at the same time, potentially feeling a bit more passive currently, but we will look at their next move towards you in the extended. This is just a snapshot of where they're at currently. So I don't want to get into that too much now, because we will look at it in depth and figure that out as well. But we also have allow, flow, trust, surrender. Bottom deck energy is ego, humanness, conditioning, insecurity. Which I think really that they may have I think they really may have shown up from an ego-based space within this connection. And the ego is not inherently a bad thing, but it can, parts of it can make us hold ourselves back from breaking out of our comfort zones. And sometimes a comfort zone is not necessarily the best place to be. It's not like a safe haven. Sometimes it's just old habits that we got used to and they're comfortable because we're used to it, but they're not necessarily good for us. And I think that's where this person is at right now, still in their comfort zone, but not entirely comfortable. And we have perspective of the bigger picture, which is something that they have the potential to see, definitely. But again, it's a choice. Because I think they don't see the situation for what it really is, or they may have a very different story to you in terms of what happened. I feel like they may just brush over some things and not really see the full picture that they could be seeing and learning everything that they could be learning. But then again, this is not a permanent energy. Nothing is permanent. So this is just where they seem to be at right now. And on this note, this is all I have for you for this reading. If you are joining me in the extended, we will look at their next move towards you, and we'll get tons of channeled messages from them as well as from your higher self and advice to finish off. If you are not meeting me in the extended, I am sending you tons of love already. Take care and bye.